Soon we want to build something using this material here. It's been sitting there for a long while, and therefore I'm cutting away all the stuff so that we have access to it and can use it. It's going to be a roof for the nursery there on the other side. Now that this old oak tree decided to give up, we even have a little bit more space, which is nice on one hand and sad on the other, but it allows us to build a proper structure there. However, there is a challenge, as always, and the challenge is that we don't seem to find the correct type of wooden posts, and there is a big misunderstanding. I can talk a little bit about that as I walk to get a new battery. The thing is, people around here in Andalusia, they don't like to build with wood. They have this perception that wood will rot and decay, and they don't seem to understand that there are easy ways to protect the wood from the UV rays. There is even a Spanish product. It's called Skilacel, and this is a Spanish product, and it's a wood protector that helps the wood to not be affected by UV radiation. I have used this around the house, and I can show you some details, and the wood still looks the same way as on day one when the wood got delivered. So all the pieces that are exposed, I treated with this, and I still have some leftovers, but it's very easy to find. So let me show you what I mean. So here, there where Olaf sits, this wood is pine wood, and it has been treated with this material. It sits here in the sun, and it looks great. While on the other hand, this is also pine wood, but it's untreated. And you see how it warped and is getting bad. So if you don't treat the wood, then of course that's what you get. And here, on this side, there is also the wood that I treated with this material, this product. And there's absolutely no rot, nothing. You just make sure that it does not sit directly in the ground if it's pine wood, or it sits on top of something that lifts it up and does not put it in direct contact with soil, and then it stays. And actually, here is still a can that's sitting here for a long time. So this is the product, and it protects the wood from all kinds of issues. So this is just perfect. But people around here, they think that wood is not a building material. So they prefer steel or concrete. And I don't like steel or concrete. I have no problem using them if there is a need, but usually it looks ugly, and wood is a much more natural material, and I don't expect this to last hundreds of years, but wooden structures have been around for hundreds of years, and this is elsewhere, but not around here. But the reason why I'm telling you this is we have a hard time finding the material, because the local supplier for wood doesn't have it and is not very eager to bring it in. And so I'm looking around elsewhere in Spain, but this, again, I'm complaining, is a little bit harder than it needs to be. You would think that people are eager to sell you something and will find a way to make it happen. But unfortunately, all these companies are run by a different vibe. So I call them up, and instead of telling me prices and conditions, they explain that it cannot be done. So here's an example. I called someone from northern Spain, some 600 kilometers away, and I said, okay, I am planning a construction project. We are down in the province of Cordoba, and I would like to see what material you can sell us. And the first thing the guy said to me, it has to be a whole truckload. Yeah, that's okay. We are planning a construction project. And nothing. I have not gotten any information, any pricing, any details, nothing. I was told to send an email, and I did so, to a Hotmail address, which is usually, now that we are in 2025, kind of a negative sign. It basically means we don't use email. And so it goes. So my experience so far has been you have to go there personally and decide on everything while you are there. And then they will actually deliver. Or in some other cases, know someone who knows them and then use social pressure so that they will eventually deliver the thing that you want to buy. But it's not how it's supposed to be. So this makes it difficult to do business or do anything. I wish I were in the United States, because there I can go to places like Home Depot and just buy what I need when I need it. They are well stocked, and so are the others that I have gotten to know there. I seem to have something here in my nose, or maybe now it's gone. So sorry if this disturbed you as well. So that is the challenge, and I'm not complaining, I'm just reporting the challenges that we have. So please understand that this is not to piss on somebody's parade. It's not my intention. I just want you to know that here and there are things unnecessarily difficult, and it's not because of us. It's because of the environment we are in. And it feels awkward that you basically have to pressure the seller of a product for which you have to pay money and force them to sell you something that you want to buy. I mean, they should be self-motivated. I am, as a customer, paying their salary. I finance their profit. So why should I go to great lengths to make them deliver me a product for which I will have to pay money? They are not doing me a favor. They are not doing something out of the ordinary. That is their business, their source of income. They should be a little bit more attentive, I think. But this seems to be different around here. And I regret a little bit to have chosen this place. It's because I speak the language. So that was the rant for today. But I hope we will find some suitable material so that eventually we can build this roof. Let's hope for the best. You will see how it turns out. And allow me to add one more thing about business practices. I happen to coach businesses all across the world, all around the world, on business topics. And so I think I have a reason to speak about this. The thing is, if I show up as a customer and I say, I want to buy this product which you can supply but don't have in stock, at least you should then quote me how much it costs to get this thing, instead of trying to avoid a conversation. It is my decision if I want to purchase the thing for the price that you quote me. And if you say, yes, we can order this, but there will be a truck driving 600 kilometers, and that truck costs X amount of money, then allow me to make this decision. Maybe I see value in doing it. Don't tell me that it's not possible, that it's not available. Tell me what it costs and allow me to make the decision. Or offer me an alternative. Do something to serve me as a customer. Because I am there because I want to do business. And if you don't want to do this, then close up shop. Don't offer a service. Let someone else do it. That would be fair. But this idea of just stealing somebody else's time, this is unfair. And business and the economy and the livelihood of everybody else, this does not work this way. So it's very, very sad. So I cleaned this up quickly. I replaced the string with the knife, and that was an easy job because these things are thick. And now we can have access to these. We could even use the forks and lift the whole package, maybe. But there's something else that I can tell you. So here on the other side of the fence, there is the easement. And a couple of days ago, something interesting happened. And as I'm ranting a little bit, let me give you another one. So there was a small 4x4, and it had a trailer behind it, and the trailer was full with some sheep. In the car were a man and two women, and they came down here. I have no idea who they are. I have never seen them before. This is an easement. In Spanish it's called servidumbre de paso. And it means that by law, this is to give access to a piece of land that has no access to the public road directly. So we need to give access to the neighbor, and another neighbor also has to give access to us, and so on until some of us gets to the nearest public road. The nearest public road is in our case not the asphalt road, that is in about 2 kilometers distance over there, but it's a road that goes through the neighboring piece of land, the neighboring farm, so you will. And the access is by following this easement, going over another easement, and then you are at a public road. This is not a public road in itself. It's a servidumbre de paso, an easement. The only users of this are our neighbors, not third parties, not someone else. If they want to go into town and they come from somewhere up there, they should use the public road which goes over there. I have no idea where these people wanted to go. And now here comes the interesting thing. Over there, we are doing some construction work. There's a trench, and the trench does not allow you to pass because the road is blocked because of that. There's no problem in blocking this because it's the easement, and the neighbor over there to whom we provide the easement is absent. They have no activity. They don't have a renter there. There is absolutely nobody who has a right and a need to use the easement. So therefore, we can take as much time with our construction work as we need because there is no user for this easement. Now, the funny thing that happens, and it shows basically a misunderstanding, but it can create problems. Those people, in the first place, when they saw that there was a trench, they tried to find a different way. And the different way, I show you what this different way would have been. Our backhoe was out of order, while the pieces were on order, and the mechanic yesterday came and installed the missing pieces. Now the backhoe can be used and work can continue. So this is our work site, and there's the trench, and it sits right in front of our main entrance. We can get in and out, of course not with any kind of vehicle, but our vehicles, they can go in and out. And here's the trench. And you also see that this is completely overgrown because nobody uses it. And also on the other side, it is very well overgrown because there is no user. So if this were a public road, then of course there would be traffic and the traffic would show. But that's not the case. It's an easement for the sole purpose of the neighbor on that side to get access to their land. They have another easement on the other side. They have two entrances. Now these people who showed up here with their vehicle and a trailer full of sheep, they saw that here is a trench. And you also see a water line there, so this indicates that something wants to be done. Of course, it's also overgrown by now because the backhoe was out of order, it rained a lot, and so work has stopped for a while. So now they stood here, and I wanted to see what they can do. So one got out and went down here and wanted to see if it's possible to cross somewhere further down to the right. This is a field, and this is the field where soon I hope to plant some palovnia trees. We removed the fence because we want to build it in a different way. So therefore, this to someone who thinks, oh, I just find my own path over somebody else's land, looks like this could be possible. So the guy scouted the area and then of course learned that over there is more fencing, and so that's not possible. But he tried. And then, my cameras have microphones, I heard that they were talking about calling the police, Guardia Civil, because they thought that this cannot be. This has to be a public road, and it has to be open. No, it is not a public road. It might be that people think it is, because it's open on both ends. Well, there's a gate, but the gate has no padlock. And so they immediately jumped to the conclusion that somebody had done something illegal. I am 100% in my right to do whatever I want on my land. I just have to give the neighbor there to the left, a servidumbre de paso, an easement, so that they can cross. And by law, that very neighbor on that side has to maintain this. They have to make improvements, not I, because I am not interested in this. I am forced by law to allow them a path, and I have a say where that path goes. But people think otherwise. It's out of ignorance, they don't know. And the funny thing is, it's a cultural thing. If you tell them politely that this is not a public road, that this is a servidumbre de paso, that this is the path, because it suits me better that the path is like that and along this route, they get upset. And they start a fight for no reason. And in this particular case, I informed our neighbor very politely that I like to close the easement for the time being, because they are not using it and they have no renter who has a right to use it as well, temporarily, in order to avoid confusion and misunderstandings, like the one that just happened here. Guess what the answer was? You cannot close. This has been a path for all life. Yeah, that might be. but it's an easement, and it's for the sole purpose, by law, for this neighbor. They are the only rightful user of this, and nobody else has a right to pass here. This is private land. I paid for it. This is my property. And I have the absolute right to do on my land whatever I want. And if I want to set a fence, then I set a fence, because it is for my own operations, for my own goals. Nobody will tell me that I cannot do with my property what I like. It's like somebody comes into your house and makes rules how you have to paint your bathroom. No, this is nobody else's business. This will not be accepted anywhere in the world. But people around here behave like that, and it drives me a little bit crazy here and there. And so there are conflicts for no good reason, just because people misunderstand it. And it makes me sad, because I'm not doing anything to anyone. I'm trying to be helpful and polite and make suggestions when I'm being asked about something. I'm not acting against anyone. It's the other people who try to attack me. And one of these misunderstandings probably led to someone to decide that they will poison the horses. And so I lost 3 horses. And the horses have also not done anything to anyone. It's because I am changing things. And whenever there is a change, some people object and try to sabotage the change, or go after the one who is introducing the change. Also, that person does not harm to anyone. It's just the fact that something is now different than it used to be. It's a psychological problem. You can see this in larger enterprises also, where people sabotage a change for the better because they don't like the change, or they believe that they are being forced to do something or accept something. It hurts them. And in some cases, people do then something bad, like the one who poisoned the horses. I have a suspicion who that might be, and probably now that these 3 people could not pass over somebody else's land because I was doing some works here, they will probably spread the word somewhere in the village that I am doing another bad thing. I'm not doing another bad thing. I'm just working on my own land. And they can ask if they can pass. But if it's not possible, well, they have to accept it, because it's not a public road. A public road would be maintained by some authority, and it would be designated. It would have a name. But the fact that people were able to pass here most of the time does not make this a public road. I have it in writing. It's part of the deed. And I would not have bought a land that has restrictions. An easement is not a restriction. You get to know your neighbor, and you figure things out collaboratively, and that's it. But strangers should not call the police for no good reason. Well, I have no idea what they actually did. Nobody has shown up yet. It's the weekend, and this happened on Thursday. I hope they will have understood. But if not, the police will come, and I get to talk to them again for no good reason. By now they know me, and probably they will advise by now to people, no, don't bother. He does not do anything wrong. So if you don't have proof, go away. I hope that's the case. But I wanted to share that there are some things, and you can tell by the fact that I'm talking about this, that it does bother me, because I want to focus my energy and resources on positive things, and not on people's wrong perception. it's a distraction. So, in case you want to buy some land somewhere in a rural place, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to find the neighbors before you purchase and talk to them in order to feel the vibe. And don't purchase if you don't like the vibe. That's maybe a smart thought. I haven't bought land before, so now I have to deal with the attitudes of these people. But don't you worry, this will not stop anything. We just continue to do what we do in order to make this land pretty in accordance with all rules. So we are not the bad ones.